that brings me to Sim Turf, a seconded national expert, sorry Sim, who came from the Belgium Fairway Authority over to the European Union. So he carries a lot of experience in terms of inland waterway transport. And to you, the honor to explain what the European Union is going to do or has done over the last years and the coming years to come. Sim, to you the floor.
Okay. Thank you, Henk, for introducing me. I must say, it's an honor, but more a challenge to speak after my boss, but I'll do my best. Before I start, of course, I want to thank Nick Dermer and his colleagues for organizing this Inland Navigation Week, and especially this DIWAT Day. I think it's the most interesting day of the week. And I also want to thank the Belgian Federal Ministry of Mobility and Transport for hosting this event. And I'm looking in the room. I don't think there's anybody here from the ministry, but anyway, I want to thank them. And now to my presentation. Today, I want to inform you about the three. Yes, they told me to look at this screen and not at that screen, so I try to focus. Today I will try to inform you about the three main challenges regarding to digitalization the Commission is currently working on. First, that's the revision of the Risk Directive of 2005. I will also inform you about the initiative of the Commission to develop an IWT digitalization vision. And the third topic I want to discuss with you is the initiative of the Commission to launch a study on automated navigation. But let me start by providing you some background. So, as you all know, the Green Deal was adopted in December 2019, and this Green Deal called for a substantial shift of goods that were moved by road to more sustainable modes of transport, such as inland waterways and rail, and mainly by measures to increase the capacity of inland waterways. And 1 year later, in December 2020, the Sustainable and Smart Mobility Strategy was adopted. And this strategy commits the EU to a 90% transport reduction of CO2 emissions. And to do that, it also indicated that the sector, inland navigation, should increase by 25% by 2030 and by 50% by 2050. So the objective of the NAIADES action plan is to meet the objectives set out by the Green Deal and the Sustainable and Smart Mobility Strategy. And this NAIADES action plan, as you all know, will focus on two core objectives. One is to create a modal shift from road to inland waterways. And the second one is to set the sector on an irreversible path towards zero emission. And that's important, both underpinned by a paradigm shift towards further digitalization. And besides those two core objectives I just mentioned, it's also the ambition of the Commission to make the sector smarter by further advancing the digitalization of the sector. Because, as you know, digitalization is key for improving the efficiency and reliability of navigation and traffic management, Also, it's key for better integrating the sector in logistic processes and multimodal chains. And thirdly, it plays a crucial role in reducing the administrative burden and costs of regulatory compliance. So after this context and background, I now want to to inform you or speak a little bit about the risk directive. And I think most people in this room and online are familiar with the risk directive. But maybe there are some people who are not. So let me say some words about this risk directive. So this directive defines the general obligation of member states to ensure the development and implementation of river information services in an efficient, expandable, and interoperable way. And it also sets a framework, an interoperability framework for digital information services to support traffic and transport management in the EU waterways, inland waterways. And the third thing I want to mention is that it currently applies to 13 member states, which are part of the interconnected inland waterway network, European Inland Waterway Network. And some members who are not part of that interconnected waterway network, such as Italy, Spain, and Portugal, also applies these provisions on a voluntary basis, and also some third countries like Serbia and Ukraine. But now to the more interesting part of my presentation, the evaluation and the revision. As you all know, the first step prior to the actual revision of the risk directive was the evaluation, and this evaluation has been performed in 2019 and 2020. And the findings of this evaluation are presented in the Commission staff working document, which was published in February 2021. And you can see on the screen the link to this publicly available document. So if you have time and you're interested, you can read this. I'm going to skip the previous slide. So now we are in the phase of the actual revision of the risk directive. We are conducting, not we, but the consultants are in cooperation with the consultants. DG Move is conducting an impact assessment, and on the basis of this impact assessment is this problem tree you can see on the screen. And this problem tree has been defined and identified on basis of the findings of the evaluation of the risk directive. So the main problem we are facing is that there is a slow and fragmented deployment of river information services that hampers the competitiveness and safety of the sector, and also hampers the contribution of the sectors in meeting the objectives set out by the Green Deal and the Sustainable and Smart Mobility Strategy. We also identified and defined 4 groups of problem drivers that leads to this problem, that are, as you can say, cause this problem or at their origin. So we are experiencing missing and non-harmonized river information services, hampers the efficient and safe navigation. But we also, one of the findings of the evaluation was that that there are inefficient processes for implementing the WIS standards. And now I have to smile because they are taking a picture of me. It's always, my mother say you always have to smile when they take a picture of you, so sorry for that. The third group of problem drivers is that river information services do not support enough the integration of inland water transport and the multimodal supply chain, and also the inefficient exchange of information and reporting is one of the issues that leads to this problem, and also some data protection concerns by inland waterway operators. The third part of the tree on your right-hand side is what are now the implications of this main problem. We are facing a risk of internal market distortion. Also, the inefficient use of risks has negative consequences on inland waterway transport, on the competitiveness and safety of IWT, and also it creates or it hampers the contribution of risks to meeting the objectives of the Green Deal. And also there are missed opportunities brought by digitalization and data protection concerns. Okay. So to tackle this, the problems or the issues I mentioned or that are mentioned in the problem tree, it's important we have envisaged a group of measures in the impact assessment exercise we are conducting. So there are 5 main groups of measures, and you can see it on the screen, measures relating to speeding up the process of adoption of technical standards. It's also important to improve the way that the users of services can report on their challenges. A third group of measures relates to streamlining the exchange of data by enhancing use of digital applications. It's also important to clarify as possible data protection issues, and the fifth group of measures relates to improving the connections of the sector with other modes of transport. So we have identified all these measures, and now we are conducting an impact assessment on all these measures. So see what's the economic, environmental, social impact of these measures. And some words about the timeline. Where are we at this moment? We are now in the final stage of finalizing the impact assessment support study. We are doing that together with the contractor. And once the report is finalized, we will start drafting on a staff working document related to the revision of the WIS directives, of course. And once we have finalized that, then based on the input of this staff working document, we will start on drafting the Commission policy proposal for the revision of the WIS directive. So we will come up with a legal text with new articles or some modified articles. And we hope to finish that by I have to be aware of what I'm saying. I think by September, October, and then we can, once it's approved, we can hand over this file to the council for further discussion. So that will be to the Spanish presidency. And it's difficult to give a more precise timeline for what will happen then, because as you all know, next year there are the European elections, so everything will slow down. So we will see. Okay. The next initiative is the development of an IWT digitalization vision. As you can see on the screen, these are all the actions, all the NIADES actions that relates to digitalization. And the two in bold are related to the development of a vision. And here we're using a two-step approach. So the first step is to draft a vision. And then the second step is that the Commission will launch a call for a CEF technical assistant project to further implement this vision. But I'm not going into detail about this because Nick Darmere in his presentation after my presentation will tell you a lot more about this vision. But what I wanted to say is that one of the main findings of work that has been carried out in the past, such as the DINA study of 2017, stated that the industry should be in the lead in the development and implementation of this vision. As you can see on the screen, they should be the actual driving force, the main implementers, and beneficiaries of this vision. So the direct involvement of the industry is and all the stakeholders is very important and will be crucial to the success of this vision. So that's what just I wanted to say. And what are the next steps? So last year, I think at the July meeting of the DINA expert group, the Platina 3 Consortium presented it on behalf of the Commission, a discussion paper proposing a process and structure for the development and implementation of such a vision. And at the same meeting in July, it was also decided that the DINA expert group should be in the lead of this development and implementation of the vision, and the European IWT platform and Nick Darmere especially were appointed as rapporteur for drafting the vision. So I'm really looking forward to his text. So at the next DINA meeting, probably somewhere in May or June, this draft, which will be drafted by Nick, will be discussed at the and hopefully approved at the next DINA meeting. And once we have a vision, then we can launch a call for a CEF technical assistance projects to facilitate the implementation of this vision, because the vision the content of the vision will be used in the terms of references of the of the call for this CEF project. And then the third and final initiative the Commission is currently working on is the study with pilots on automated navigation. So the general objective of this study is to contribute to the NIADAS 3 objective for the development, demonstration and deployment of holistic, smart and automated shipping concepts. There are three more specific objectives, and as you can see on the screen, it's one of the objectives is to define the minimum requirements in technical, operational, and regulatory terms to guarantee the safe and secure navigation for automated vessels on the European inland waterways. It's also one of the objectives to demonstrate and validate the findings of the study by several pilots, making use of EU space data from the different EU space programs such as Galileo, EGNOS and Copernicus. And finally, the objective was also to contribute to the EU policy framework for automated vessels and the work CESNI is doing related to automated navigation. We have envisaged 7 activities for this study. So the first one is to identify the user requirements for the safe navigation on inland waterways where autonomous, remotely piloted and manually piloted vessels will coexist. The second one is to define operations and positioning performance needs for the different operations of automated vessels. We will also, the contractor will also identify and analyze the technical and regulatory barriers for automated vessels, industry value change, and new business models that could emerge on inland waterways, and building on synergies between satellite-based navigation, imagery, and telecom. And now I'm coming to my last slide. We will also identify and define possible actions at EU member states and regional and local level to boost business development and support SMEs and startups to deliver EU-based solutions to realize automated navigation on the European inland waterways. We will also investigate what are the possible implications of automated navigation on river information services in Europe. It's also our objective to develop a prototype of onboard equipment that uses Galileo differentiators to address the main needs that are not covered so far by existing equipment. And the seventh activity is to define and develop a Copernicus safety case for inland waterways, which will be implemented and validated by means of a demonstrator. What about the timeline? We hope to launch a call for tenders as soon as possible. And this the study will have a duration of 3 years. So yeah, I think that's it. Let's have a look. Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Well, it's safe to say that the Commission has a lot of plans and things. Is it already possible to lift the curtain a little bit on the revision of the RIS directive? What's going to be in it? No?
No, that's a big secret.
Right. Right.
No, but
We have a question coming from the chat.
okay.
Thierry van den Burg is manning the chat. And Thierry, go ahead.
A question from Birger Schrevens. Perhaps Birger can open his mic and turn on his camera and ask the question himself. I understood that was the intention from the...
Yes.
Oh.
I can. Hello, it's Birger Schrevens here from IMEC. Very interesting presentation, Sim. Thank you. Actually, yesterday you said that yesterday was the most interesting day, and today you say it is today. So you know how to manage this. No, just kidding. My question is actually it's very interesting, and that you want to use this European space data for improved navigation. But is there a way to experiment or test with this space data to set up proof of concept and demonstrators, for instance?
Yes, that's of course one of the objectives of the study is not only to define and theoretically. What I wanted to say is we will test and validate this by pilot projects, making use of equipment that uses EU space data. Because we are convinced that this EU space data and services will deliver very accurate positioning information and also harmonized images of, based on the Copernicus information, images of the inland waterways and their surrounding. So, yes, we want to validate it by pilot projects. So it's not only in theory, it's also in practice.
To be continued.
To be continued.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Sim.